In this video, I'm going to share my unpopular and probably shocking opinion about Canada with you. Being a foreigner, I don't live in Canada, but I want to tell you, if you live in Canada, why I see certain patterns that are actually very, very concerning. Now, long story short, I traveled Canada in recent weeks. I've been to Toronto, Ottawa, Kingston, and I met a lot of entrepreneurs in the country, but also spoke to a lot of immigrants and just, I would say, average salary earning folks in the country. So everyone between a basic income up to self-made millionaires, I spoke to them on my trip to Canada. And the first thing that I noticed is, for me, living in the country that has the highest salary after tax in the entire world, which is Switzerland, traveling to Canada and also every other country in the world, usually my experience is that everything else feels cheap. Because obviously, when you come from the richest place on earth, you know that groceries, restaurants, any basic expenses usually are cheap. Now in Canada, what I realized after the first few days is, wow, Canada is freaking expensive. And if you look at this list right here, you will notice that, like I said, Switzerland is number 1. Canada is not even in the top 10 of highest salaries on the planet. And you can see it's roughly half of what people make in Switzerland on average. Now, keeping that in mind, I must tell you, prices for even, just a bottle of water, Pepsi, Coke, whatever you want to buy, basic stuff at Circle K and all these places is just as expensive as in Switzerland, probably even more expensive than in Switzerland. So while traveling Canada, I use a lot of Ubers, and in every single Uber I would meet people from, as you know, all over the world. People from Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Kenya, Tanzania, other African countries, and also from India. And I spoke to some of them for like 30-40 minutes, and they will tell me that they sometimes moved to Canada 10-20 years back. And they said that back then things were more affordable, but their children who were born in Canada will not have a chance to ever own real estate if they just earn a typical average salary in the country. Now, what is the point of this video? I'm not here to take a big massive dump on Canada. I love American people, I love American culture, so for me, being there has just been a painful experience to see so many people having a hard time just making ends meet. What's the solution to that problem? Should you leave Canada? Should you go somewhere else? Well, first of all, of course, that's something that you can do, but life, of course, is complex. Maybe you want to live close to your family, close to your upbringing. You want to maybe stay there for the rest of your life where you were born and raised. There is nothing wrong with that. Even though, for example, for me, one of the greatest decisions in my life early on was to leave the country that I was born in and go somewhere else to make other experiences. However, I think if you don't know what you want to do, but you do know you want to make more money and you don't want to leave Canada and you just want to make sure that everything is more affordable for you, there's really just one option for you, and that is obviously to make more money. Now, the one thing that you can do and you can look into is to just build an income on the side next to the job that you work. And there are a couple options, especially in the marketing industry, using artificial intelligence that can have you making several thousands additionally to the income that you already have just by, building a side hustle like that. Now, in this YouTube channel, I usually just talk about how to start an online business and make that possible. However, back to the actual subject. You can have a different opinion than me, and maybe it's not that bad to you. But let me just ask you 2 things. Number 1, if you got foreigners from poor countries coming to your country, trying to build a better life for themselves, sometimes even coming from countries that don't have any basic, free social insurance or like any similar system to that. And if they say it's bad, and it's so bad that after like 3-4 years, they already question their choice to even come there and like immigrate, don't you think that's a very clear sign that something is wrong? Number 2, in our generation, it's just not possible anymore to just set aside some money by the end of the month, do that for 20 years, and build wealth that way. That's just not enough. Look at your parents and your parents' parents and everybody else around you. Look at who was able to afford multiple holidays each year, also financing a house with one person in the household working a job. Yeah, these times have been over for multiple decades by now. And I mean, things are only getting worse. And I'm not saying that you cannot be lucky by making good investment choices, investing early in your life. All that is valid. All that will work if you are lucky making the right choices, right? But here's my biggest point. The only way to predictably make sure that you control your life and you're not affected by these problems in Canada or any other country in the world is by making more money. So if you live in Canada, you're an immigrant or you're born in Canada, it doesn't matter. I'd love to hear your opinion. Post that in the comments and let me know your opinion. Do you think that you would agree with, most things that I mentioned here in this video? Let me also know if you disagree and let me know why. I would love to read your comments.